Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out on a somewhat cold, but I guess nicer than it's been night for some time. I'm Darren Erickson. I'm the principal here at Pleasant Valley High School, and joined tonight by several of our counselors, Ms. Valerie Tucker, Ms. Ellie Curtis, Ms. Ellie Thomas, Mr. Scott Rice, along with our Director of Secondary Education, Mike Zimmer. They're going to help if we get like questions at the end and kind of going into a deep dive of anything that we go over tonight. I was just kind of thinking, I go through these every year, and I remember my first one coming to this when Mr. Zimmer was still the principal at the high school, and I'm at home with my third grader and my kindergartner, and just kind of watching, saying, kind of checking my phone, you know how that goes at a lot of these meetings. And now, a few years later, with son finishing his first year of college and a sophomore in high school, and looking at some of this, it's like, yeah, I guess I should have paid a little more attention to that in the early going. A lot of tonight is going over not only things to get ready or things to start considering for college, but also other opportunities, because there's some form of education or training or career readiness that's going to be coming in your child's future. But we want to make sure that they're aware of all of the different opportunities and avenues. And there's not just one path along the way. So we're going to talk about a few different things about that. So the first thing we have here is a video. It's called Success in the New Economy. This is, I believe, the third iteration of this video. It keeps getting updated and renewed every few years. What is amazing is, even though it keeps getting updated with over all the time, with more, obviously timely, staying with the dates as the future progresses. So it keeps changing, but the information and data in it really stays the same. So bear with it. It's about a 9 to 10 minute video, and we'll begin the presentation.
There is a widespread belief that the job market is just waiting for hordes of ambitious, eager young graduates to slide into high-paying jobs in the corner office. They just need to go to college, right? Well, the data tells a different story. Charts like this imply a correlation between higher income and additional education, showing on average that a person with a university degree earns far more money than the average person without a high school diploma. This reliance on averages and perceived higher earnings for having a four-year degree has fueled a college-for-all philosophy, causing educators and parents to encourage going to the university, any university, to major in anything in pursuit of social mobility and financial prosperity. This belief has increased college and university enrollment to an all-time high, resulting in 66% of high school graduates in this country enrolling in higher education right after high school. That's 2 out of 3. The problem isn't that we need more students to attend college. The problem is too many students who enter are not completing. For most college students, it takes too long and they simply lose interest. Others are juggling too much, or they discovered they picked the wrong major or attended the wrong institution for them. Since most students are told a university degree guarantees a higher salary, many delay their career planning until after college graduation, resulting in 62% of students reporting they feel disengaged because they don't see the connection between their coursework and their future career. And so today, only a quarter of those that initially enroll will finish a bachelor's degree. You see, our educational system is very well-intentioned, but incredibly misaligned. The pendulum has swung too far towards college preparation at any cost, and away from skill attainment. We even encourage a college-going culture as early as elementary school, with university pennants decorating second-grade classrooms, and we spend an exorbitant amount of time in high school getting into college. Education is core to our economy, but in order to guide our educational systems and maximize future income, we must understand this misalignment between education and our workforce. At some point in recent history, we have transitioned from asking the more important question of what knowledge and skills do you need to be employable and to contribute to your community, to now simply asking, where are you going to college? When in reality, not every degree is direct preparation for employment. With rising education costs, a shrinking job market, and the oversaturation of some academic majors in the workforce, graduates take positions that do not require the education they have received, and often with debt they cannot afford. In fact, this misalignment between degrees and job skills causes half of university graduates to be underemployed in what are called gray-collar jobs, and 33% of college graduates are still underemployed well into their 30s. We know that success in today's world depends on aligning a student's academics with both their skills and available job opportunities. Yet there is growing evidence of a skills gap in which many Americans are not receiving the essential skills that are needed. Recently, a survey was conducted to find out if the skills found within the local workforce match the skills that employers need in the new economy. We found that employers experience difficulty finding applicants with strong technical skills, as well as problem-solving skills, applied math skills, and basic technical training. Unlike 3 generations ago, having hands-on skills and perfecting what you're good at can be more valuable in today's economy than getting a degree in something simply to get one. In fact, when hiring, business leaders say a candidate's knowledge and applied skills in a specific field are more important factors than where the candidate went to school or their college major. The economy and the world have dramatically changed. In 1960, when taking into account all jobs in the American economy, 20% required a 4-year degree or higher, 20% were technical jobs requiring skill training, and 60% were classified as unskilled. But what's the right percentage to meet the labor market demand for tomorrow? Georgetown University predicts only 33% of all jobs will require a 4-year degree or more in the future, while the overwhelming majority will be highly skilled jobs requiring professional and technical training at the credential or associate's degree level. The true ratio of jobs in our economy is 1 to 7. For every occupation that requires a master's degree or more, approximately 2 professional jobs require a university degree, and there are over half a dozen jobs requiring a 1-year certificate or 2-year degree. And each of these technicians are in very high-skilled areas that are in great demand. So while most jobs in the future will require some education and training beyond high school, the majority of occupations will not require a bachelor's degree or more. It was the same in 1960, the same in 2000, and will be the same in 2040. Very well-intentioned, the recent college for all rhetoric is often misinterpreted as university for all. This message needs to be significantly broadened to a post-high school credential for all. Students at various educational levels have left school without essential skills, setting up our children for failure, costing them and taxpayers millions, all while the labor market is desperate for highly trained, skilled technicians. One of the essential purposes of education should be to help students develop the knowledge and skills needed to search for and obtain work that they find satisfying. Fortunately, today's students no longer need to decide between higher education or career preparation. It's possible and increasingly necessary to achieve both. So how do you position yourself for satisfying in-demand jobs? Let's say you are considering a career as either an electrician or a business manager. You would find that the average annual income for electricians is $53,000, only about half of the $99,000 average wage for management occupations. So at first glance, it looks as if getting a bachelor's degree in business is a no-brainer. But adding skills and ability into the picture adds a whole new dynamic. What if you have the potential to become an excellent electrician, but lack the skills and ability to be an excellent manager? Then you should be looking at projected incomes towards the bottom of the pay scale for managers and towards the top for electricians. You would then discover that electricians near the top of the pay scale make around $90,000, far higher than the income of a manager near the bottom of the pay scale at $44,000. Now, this is just one example, but the concept is true throughout all industries. The claim that you will make more money with an increased amount of education is not necessarily inaccurate, it's just incomplete. That advice is based just on the averages, but no one is perfectly average. Everyone has unique skills, talents, and gifts. Truth is, the income for the top individuals in a wide variety of technical jobs is far higher than the average income for occupations requiring a 4-year degree. Nationally, associate degree earners range between $29,000 and $76,000, while bachelor's recipients earn between $37,000 and $102,000. But this data only accounts for the 25th percentile to the 75th percentile of full-time adult workers. This means 25% of associate degree holders earn more than $76,000 annually, while 25% of bachelor's degree holders earn less than $37,000. Our world has changed, and the university degree is no longer the guaranteed path towards financial success as it was for previous generations. And even if you do earn one, that education alone may not be enough. In today's highly technical, knowledge-based economy, employers want to know what you can do and what you can do well, not just what degree hangs on your wall. And new and emerging occupations in every industry now require a combination of academic knowledge and technical ability. One without the other is insufficient. We need to ensure we're providing students with all the essential skills required to be competitive upon graduation. So before enrolling in classes or deciding what you're going to do next in your life, step one is self-exploration. Take multiple assessments and really analyze your talents and strengths. Step two is career exploration. Understand the jobs available, the income ranges they pay, and evaluate both the knowledge and skills they require. After researching all the possibilities, then engage in career planning by setting a flexible career goal based on your personality and abilities and not just your interests. This doesn't have to be what you want to do for the rest of your life, just set a goal of what you want to do first. Only then can you develop a skills-based education plan, including your tentative career goal with multiple education and training options both inside and outside the classroom. This could include community college, military service, a university, volunteering, registered apprenticeship programs, industry certifications, or gaining work experience. There are multiple paths to success. This is especially true if you are entrepreneurial. 77% of students want to be their own boss, and creating good jobs while rebuilding America's middle class hinges on the success of small businesses and startups. The new secret to success is to create ample opportunities to explore and hone one's skills and to choose an initial career aligned with who you are. This alignment will help ensure one's position at the top of each pay scale. For the sake of our students, our families, and our country, we can't afford to get this wrong any longer. The time has come to redefine the goal for our students. Is the goal simply graduation or degree attainment? Or is the ultimate goal a relevant education to secure a well-paying career where they are both fulfilled and competitive in today's fierce job market? To ultimately secure a competitive advantage in the new economy, all students need a rigorous general education combined with applied technical skills, industry-recognized certifications, and specific preparation for employment. Will they be ready?
So, the purpose of that, there's a lot in that. Some of the key takeaways, when you see that number, the 127 that they talk about, again, you're looking at 50, 60, 70 years in a row for every one higher level degree. There are 2 positions with a 4-year degree, in which there are 7 positions that take much less in that. The key takeaway is, I think a lot of kids get into high school and they're like, where am I going to college? And that isn't necessarily the right question. Not that college isn't an option, but getting some more specificity and going into exactly what you want to do or having an idea and knowing different options which you can do. It can save a lot of time, a lot of heartache. I always personalize this story a little bit because I go back, fast forward many, many moons ago to me. Going in, and I decided to go to Illinois State University and get my 4-year degree in English. And as the Avenue Q song says, what do you do with a BA in English? You promptly graduate and start doing sales for Coca-Cola because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I worked a job order for Coca-Cola for about 1.5 years, and then I realized I don't want to be a salesman for Coca-Cola. So what do? You go and roll right back at Illinois State University for 3 more semesters and drop 3 more semesters worth of money to get your education classes to start teaching. So while I have 2 bachelor's degrees to show for it, I also had 5.5 years of college debt to pay for what could have taken me 4 or less. So having that idea on the front end could have saved me a little bit of time, and I believe I was married before I finished paying off some of those loans, so I think my wife would have appreciated it as well. We talk about Pleasant Valley. We have incredible success here. We have our kids go on and do amazing things. Our student data is great. When you look at our 97% plus graduation rate, 77% of them report that they're going to a post-secondary school. What we're looking at is the number of our kids who take off and go to college is pretty high, but we're right at that national number as well. 59% of them finishing within that 6-year window. So we get kids who, what do? They go off to college. but they don't know exactly what for. So they might not finish. They might shift fields. They might go other avenues. So again, it hits home because those are our students. Your kids are getting this right now. We've added our career and college readiness course right now that they're taking with our counselors, and they take it all 4 years. We think this is vital information for students to have on the front end and start having those conversations. I know, and I bet many of you would echo, going through high school, starting to think about what you're going to do after high school. I know I started thinking about it maybe senior year, and we just think it's so important right now to get this information in front of our students. So if you look at the Iowa job projections right now, about 32% of Iowa will require, or 32% of jobs in Iowa will require a high school diploma, 39% some sort of college or associate's degree, the 21% requiring a bachelor's degree, 8% requiring the graduation degree, and as you can see, the 127. It still fits right there, and that's for 2025. So, a little bit about college degrees, and like I said, this might be old news, or several of you are already aware of this, but a lot of people aren't. The two different degrees people typically go towards, the undergrad. The first is an associate's degree, which is usually, I'm going to use real broad terms to kind of describe it. Associate's degree is usually described as the 2-year degree. It usually takes approximately 2 years, 4 semesters. Those are more like basic technical academic knowledge. There are a lot of the gen ed courses that are required for things. They typically are about 60 to 70 credits, with a full-time student being 12 to 16 hours of what most students take. And the associate's degrees are available at just about any college or university, including your community colleges. The bachelor's degree is the 4-year degree. It's the next step after an associate's, and that's what people usually refer to as the 4-year degree, though anymore I think it's more the 5-year degree in a lot of cases. So it's more specialized. You get deeper into your specific fields depending on your major. That's usually somewhere between that 120 and 140 credit hours of full-time for 4 years. And again, those are available at most universities and college. There we go. So as your kids are getting ready to enter senior year, what are the next steps? The first step is to explore what you want to do, having that conversation. What do I see myself doing for the next 40 years, 50 years? Are you certain, are you confident in exactly what you are? There are some people who said, I knew when I was in 3rd grade I was going to be a teacher, and by gosh, I'm still going to be a teacher. The majority of people are unknown. I think I wanted to be an astronaut, then a professional baseball player, that you name it. And I think that's more, it's okay to explore. It's okay to have those thoughts and ideas, especially before you start paying $200 and $300 and $400 per credit hour to find it out though. If you look at the different region schools, we're referring to Northern Iowa, Iowa, and Iowa State. Those are the region schools in Iowa. Right now, for their programs, they're approximately $350 per credit hours of tuition, and then your cost of living on campus or in dorms or anything. So you could expect to pay next year at one of the region schools somewhere for a full-time year, somewhere between that $20,000 to $25,000. If you look at starting some of those, getting some college classes, more of your gen ed, and working towards that. If you go to an Eastern Iowa community school, like Scott Community College, Clinton Community, any of those are somewhere around $170 to $190 per credit hour for in-state students, and then your cost of living can vary. Again, going back to my son, his cost of living right now is whatever he eats out of my pantry, which is a lot, but still a little bit less expensive than the dorms, and that's working out okay. So, other things to consider. Some kids want to enter the job market sooner. Some don't necessarily want to go to college for that long. I say all the time is it may not be directly like college towards a degree, but it'll involve education and training. So there are internships, apprenticeships, different academies to begin. Is the military an option? There are many different ways to get to the same end. There are many different paths to the same destination. So as you go and start looking at what courses to enroll in, the conversation with your counselors are vital. They will help prepare you for your life after high school. Keys, and we emphasize this to students, and we want parents to reinforce as well. We don't want kids to enroll in courses because my friend's taking that course, or because you heard it's easy, it's fun, you go on field trips, any of those things. Don't enroll in it because, well, that's a weighted grade point average and I want a higher GPA. Again, both the weighted and the unweighted are on those. Again, it's okay to explore, it's okay to go into your interests, but take your courses for you, not for everyone else. So do enroll in courses that are going to start to prepare you for your career and college paths, that may start to earn credits towards certification or the college degree you seek, that you find interesting, enriching, and meaningful, and that meet your goals and aspirations. So, basic graduation requirements, and so that's the counselors will go through and make sure all of the proper boxes are checked here. There's 23 total credits to graduate from Pleasant Valley High School. One of those credits will come from 4 years of wellness, and one of those credits will come from 4 years, from the service learning requirements. Then from there, you have to have 4 years or 4 credits, which would be 8 semesters of English, 3 years of math, 3 years of science, and 3 years of social studies. We put 3 to 4 years of science because the science requirement for the state of Iowa, you have to complete all 3 stands of the next generation science standards. And so if you enrolled in 3 courses that don't meet all 3 strands, you would have to take a 4th course to meet your last strand of the next generation science standards. So the counselors will walk through that with the kids all of the time. And then you have to have 1 year of health, CTE course for at least 1 semester, that's the career and technical and expressive arts, or a 2nd semester CTE, and then the rest are made up of electives. And a lot of time it's during those electives where students start to hone in a little bit more on what they want to do. We also offer several different, when you talk about the college expense and you go back to the $350 per credit hour, or even the $170 to $190 per credit hour, we offer 26 different dual enrollment courses within our building. And so there's positives and negatives out of that, or I won't even say negatives, potential drawbacks to that. Positives, parents, you don't pay for those, we do. So many of our seniors graduate with a semester or more of college already on their transcript paid for. So that obviously, when I said earlier, like a 4-year degree, kind of moving towards a 5-year degree, that can be big in getting, my neighbor graduated with her 4-year degree in 3 years because she attended Pleasant Valley High School and graduated here with over 30 credit hours of classes. You start to generate a college transcript. So all of those courses, again, that you have both, they go on your Pleasant Valley High School transcript, but you also have a college transcript. So I use the Spider-Man analogy: with great power comes great responsibility, because you're generating a college transcript. So remember, you have to work hard in those classes, and you could actually graduate high school starting an academic probation or something if you were to do poorly in those college classes. So again, receiving an F on a college transcript could impact if you're filling out a FAFSA, academic probation, all of those things. And to get into those dual enrollment courses, some of them do have prerequisites, not all of them, and those are questions depending on the course your counselors can walk through. We also offer 17 different advanced placements, or AP courses. The student must check in with the intended college to determine accepted AP courses and qualifying scores. So what's important, in order to get college credit for an AP course, you have to take at the end of, just taking the course doesn't necessarily constitute college credit. You have to take the AP course at the end of the test, or at the end of the semester, and you can get a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So a lot of people are like, well, what scores give college credit? As some will accept a 3 or higher for college credit, some it is 4 or higher, and some it is 5 or higher. So I compare the two. They're 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, between a dual enrollment and an AP course. But the dual enrollment courses do count towards credit towards Scott Community or the EICC. They're not necessarily meeting every college's requirement, depending on what you're working at, but you do have a college credit. The AP courses may or may not be accepted by, depending on your AP score and the different colleges you go to. So none of them are 100% certain, so that's where we start to talk about what field are you thinking of going into, where are you thinking of going to school, where we can get that information to the kids out in front. And then we have our AP exams will be starting in May, and some of the AP courses have prerequisites as well. But it's really, we can offer the courses. Each college and university is different. We can't emphasize that enough. So do your homework or work with your counselors to help get information on the colleges you're looking at, and they can help provide that information. We also are talking a little bit about the CTE, or the career technical programs. We have several certificate programs that are available, and what that is you take courses and you essentially receive a certificate to start in a field. These are much faster to employment if those are interests that your student has. If you look on there, the certificate programs are usually somewhere between that 15 and 24 credit hours, much less than a degree, and can get you going down those paths. So if you look at the CTE program, certificate programs we have available right now, the welding, auto collision, auto tech, electricity, CNC programming, criminal justice, culinary, cybersecurity will be new for next year, EMTs, event management, so, and you can read. So all of these are certificate programs that we have, and we're working with different students to get going and providing numbers. We talk about the very competitive job market. We're actually in a little bit of a twist right now because employers are clamoring for good, skilled, dependable labor right now. And it's programs like this that we can get kids going right away on the right path and start getting a paycheck. Employers are looking for good people right now. Talking a little bit, I mentioned the College Career Seminar course that our counselors are doing this year. Everybody takes it. It's for 1 quarter, and the students will take it all 4 years of high school that they're here, and it's going over a lot of this information that we're sharing tonight, and it's broken down more by grade level. So it's freshmen are starting to get some of those questions in front of them, all the way to juniors and seniors looking for help with like filling out the FAFSA and finding scholarship opportunities and college applications and things. So again, it's varied by grade level, and it's just to try to get this information to our students faster. Service learning has changed just a little bit right now when it comes to the graduation program, and all the people who have started along the way are, for lack of a better word, grandfathered into the old program. They can finish how they are. We've added a different element going for moving forward. We want service learning to be a little bit more meaningful, not as much about just filling the hours, but helping students find something that is going to maybe be meaningful to them personally or benefit them in the long run. So we're offering ways for students to actually get some of their hours served by developing or coming up with what their service learning plan is. Instead of saying, hey, where can I go to get hours? We want students to spend some time thinking about it, and I'm really interested in working with housing, or I'm interested in working with animals or pets or helping people, and coming in and trying to make it more of a passion project. The old students used to have to come in and give a presentation in front of class. We wanted to change that a little bit more, so they have a few different ways that they can finish their project. They can still do it that way, or they can bring in like a small panel interview with questions from like a 3-member panel where they can just have kind of an interaction. They can participate. We're going to do a service learning fair in our cafeteria where kids can, kind of like the science fairs from elementary, but where kids can come in and people can come in and talk about what did you do for your service project, and maybe they can share some of the learning and the experiences they have with both students and adults. So any questions, you can email our service learning coordinator, Christina Myatt. She'll be happy to answer them. Early graduation. So juniors, if you're thinking about graduating early next year, make sure you get out ahead of it. Have that conversation with your counselor before the school year starts. Because it'll be very vital in your course selection. One that often comes up is, one, you have to have your service learning finished by semester in order to be completely done. The other is you'll typically have to double up on your English classes, because with the 4-year English requirement, you may only be enrolled in your 7th English course and still need an additional one as well. The consequences, for lack of a better word, I guess, remember, if you do graduate early, you're no longer a PV student. You can't participate in any extracurricular activities or any of those things. You do get to come back and participate in the graduation ceremony, but you no longer are a high school student. And then kind of our course request timeline. So we've started already through both the CCR courses and just meeting with kids. They have their course request sheets right now. So our online students we're working with separately to try to get everything done there. And we're also working on some grade specific video to be released, like e-news and Google Classrooms, to make sure we have information out there. We'll be meeting with students individually. The counselors will be right now to start finalizing course requests. So many of your students have already started to fill out those requests. So having a conversation, what are you taking for electives? Are you looking at dual enrollment, AP? All of those conversations can be started right now. Kind of a magic date, if you look over, we're hoping usually by sometime in early to mid-March, we've finished off the vast majority of all of our students, and we take those course requests and that's when we start to create a schedule for next year. And so why you'll see right there with April 1st as the last day to make changes for course requests, we don't make the schedule until we know what the kids want to take. And so in other words, the kids dictate what courses we're going to have next year. We, instead of just saying we have 3 sections of this course and it's 30 kids max, so 90 kids can take it. No, if 120 kids want to take it, we want to make that happen, so we'll run 4 sections. If only 60 kids want to take it, we can run 2 sections. So, but once we get those course requests in and we make the schedule, that's what we base our hiring on, our assignment of staff, our assignment of courses, and all of those things start to be locked in. So right now, I don't have anything. I don't have a schedule, so we're very open. You can move them around, and I don't want to take cooking, I want to take welding. Perfect, we can move that around. But once we've assigned a certain amount of sections to each course, now is when we only have that many seats available in those courses, if that makes sense. So going back to that baking welding situation, if the welding class doesn't have any open seats, after we make that schedule and the kid says, I don't want to take baking, I want to take welding, we no longer have welding seats available. So that's why it's not that we don't want to work with people. It's not that we try to be as flexible as we can and we wait as long as we can. And I know every year there's a frustration when I don't want this class, my student wants to take this class, and we try to work as much as we can. But once we make that schedule, we are truly limited to the number of seats that we have. And they also start to get assigned by period and all of those things, and it just changes how much flexibility we have. So getting that first schedule turned in accurately, or as accurate as you can, is very important. So again, that April 1st is the last day we can go in. After that, the course changes may not be honored. And then there's course selection information is on that website right there. And I believe we'll have this presentation posted as well, so any of these links and contact information. I'm getting the thumbs up from Ms. Marsoon in the back, so this presentation will be posted. So, just kind of a reminder for next year's seniors, per our board policy, all seniors have to be enrolled in 5 academic courses plus wellness, so a minimum of the 6 classes. You can take a 7th, but that's a minimum. Your service learning has to get complete, and in order to participate in the graduation ceremony, all of the graduation requirements must be completed. Every year it seems like we have a couple of things coming along, and again, if you haven't met the graduation requirement, you can't participate in the ceremony. We can't bestow a diploma. We can't give up that diploma until all of those criteria have been met. We've had students who haven't met all of those criteria and can't participate in the ceremony. You have until, I'll say, August 23rd or roughly, the day before school starts the next year to finish everything and still be considered for this year a 2022 grad, for next year a 2023 grad. But I know the ceremony is just that, a ceremony. It's not anything, it's you getting your diploma is truly what graduation is. Iowa immunization law requires all students entering 12th grade have the meningococcal vaccine. So if you want to look at that right there, I know our nurses over the summer will start making emails and phone calls to make sure the vaccination records are updated. And then all the in-person seniors must meet their CCR counselor to finalize course requests by February 16th. And I believe you guys have probably already met with several. You can ask when you get home or ask your incoming senior, have you met with your counselor yet? If not, get it scheduled. Now comes, I know that's a lot and it's probably a little overwhelming. What questions about any of this or anything else do you have?
If a student was working for a class, so they put prerequisites, but the class is no longer offered in the senior year. How does that work?
Do you know what course that would be, or are you just talking in general?
Like this law?
Business law.
There's a prerequisite business. So the student
Over at Scott Community, you know?
We offer through the small business
Yep.
management.
So we offer it, we would get it through the Scott Community College as part of the small business management certificate. So if someone wanted to take business law, we can enroll them in business law. If we don't have the course along something like that, we can look at.
And these classes are year or semester?
Business law, I believe, is one. Is that a semester or a quarter? Okay, it's a 1 semester course. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
There's a general rule of your children go out of state, like for instance, get in state resident, visit by state. I know that if you want to live somewhere and maybe have them established state resident.
Now you see why I brought in the A team here. So Ms. Tucker, that's her area.
So I might just burst your bubble here. It depends on the state. So there are some states, each state and their systems, their post-secondary systems, establish their own regulations for residency. So for example, California, if you enroll in a California university as a non-resident, no matter who moves there, you will never get in-state residency because your purpose was to come for education. Other states are certainly not as strict as that, but the general rule is that it depends on which state you file taxes from. So you can't necessarily send a student and say, hey, go live in Florida for a year and work, and then you'll have a license and you can start school. If you're still claiming them on your taxes, or they can't prove that they came to that state for some other purpose than education, they may not establish residency. So don't be afraid to ask those questions of the universities. They don't make it very well known, but that information is there. It's a different situation if, say, the entire family is moving or a parent is moving, but if you're filing taxes from another state, that is your state of residency for tuition purposes. And I should have said that. Residency is one thing, residency for tuition purposes is a different thing sometimes. I hope that kind of answered your question. Don't be afraid to ask that.
What other questions?
Could you clarify service learning hours for this year, for this year group?
Yep, for junior, seniors, so for this year's juniors and seniors, they'll have a total of 40 hours to do. They'll actually have 35 of those hours to actually, in the service piece of it, 5 of those hours are through, on the front end, through the planning and presentation of what they're gonna do with their hours, followed by the share out of the hours that they're going to do. So it used to be all 40 where they had to choose 1 or 2. Kind of a big change. It used to be you had to choose 1 or 2 projects that you would do over the 40 hours. So part of the change was sometimes if you're on a theme or if you're doing the same thing, it doesn't mean you have to do it all with just one place. And a way to look at that would be, again, for instance, just say you wanted to work with animals and you might work at 3 different vet clinics, or you might go to the Humane Society. You know, you could do multiple things to combine it into that theme. And so you're not limited to just 1 or 2 places, or it's more the theme of your project or what the passion that you're pursuing to do the service in. Does that help at all?
I thought with COVID that some of that changed.
No. They were grandfathered in the year that we reduced the 50% for that year's sophomores and that year's seniors only.
Sorry, I wasn't thinking about total hours. I thought about how you could get the hours. This year, that gonna change slightly.
Yes, we loosened. It used to be there, and a 501. It used to be the business had to be a 501c3 nonprofit. It's very specific on what we've loosened that up into. It doesn't necessarily have to be just a complete nonprofit, as long as the activity isn't making the business profit. So in other words, you know, if you were at Hy-Vee checking out, you're making them profit, so that wouldn't be a service learning. But I'm not saying we've done this, but if it's to part of a neighborhood beautification program and you were in the Hy-Vee parking lot along that block picking up recycling, that would count then.
Christina also offers some virtual options for students if they're doing that. There are some opportunities that are on the website as well.
I'm not sure if you heard that. Yes, Ms. Myatt has come up with, there are several different like correspondence or virtual options for service learning. Some that kids can do at home between making different clothing articles or writing letters, or there are ways that our at-home students if they don't want to actually go out and do the service learning, there are those options. We also, for students who maybe don't have as many opportunities or might have transportation issues, at least once a month, she offers a service learning day here at the high school. So it'll move. It used to be on our Wednesday early hours, but now I believe it'll move to Fridays. But students can pick up 2 to 3 hours every month here at the school on the service learning events. They usually take place in our commons or in our cafeteria. So a student can get, over the course of those, 20 plus hours in a single year just doing those service learning events as well. So we're trying to make it more attainable for students who may have trouble reaching some of those.
So what if the student has already submitted some hours for the junior and senior year under the old
They count, they're fine, yep, all of it.
Is it another 20 hours or another?
It's 40 total, so if a student submitted 15, there's 25 more, it's 40 total, yep. Any other questions? Well, I want to thank you for coming out. This will be online, again, posted. And if you have any questions following up, please reach out to any of us and talk to your student, make sure they're getting all of their things done. We'll be around here if you have any individual questions specifically. Thank you for coming out and have a wonderful evening.